Good evening and welcome along to the latest edition of the Endless Celts Podcast. It's Friday night. I'm here with James. He's usually good for a Friday. How you doing, mate?
Aye, all good, mate. All good. Had a good wee week. Got a wee shift in working the Mora, and then that's me done for a couple of weeks. So can't grumble. I'm looking forward to getting a wee break.
Good. I've still got Monday and Tuesday, but I think Tuesday's pretty much show face.
Right off, aye.
I think it's pretty much unofficially been told it's a write off. But I just welcome along everybody in the comments and that. I'm sure we'll have a good wee laugh because especially the first subject, obviously it's the cup finals nearly a week gone, James, but still the meltdown continues. Chris Boyd, I don't know if you caught him on Sky Sports, he had a catastrophic meltdown calling, I need to turn this wee stupid ring light after now. It's fucking flashing mental, man. Day my tits in. And then one darkness, but who cares? It's no flashing like a nutter now. Chris Boyd, he's had like a mad meltdown live in Sky Sports, and I just think the irony and how we used to get called paranoid and all that, and it's just one decision, it's totally flipped. Even Clement, I don't know, I cared about his interview today on Super Scoreboard, and he's even talking about saying the whole of Europe is talking about it now, and it's a bad advert for Scottish football. It just makes it so sweeter, I think.
Aye, it's been different class. I must admit, I've totally missed everything today in terms of press conferences. I've not really been on Twitter or seen anything, but aye, I'm sure that was discussed at Real Madrid's breakfast table this morning. Will he call him in their VAR video? That would have been first in line for conversation. But no, as you say, it's been brilliant, and it's as said on Monday as well. Sorry, it was Tuesday this week, but it's just made it all that sweeter. Just listening to Super Scoreboard or reading Twitter, anything at all, it just makes it that wee bit sweeter. And as you say, we had it for years. We were called paranoid. It was a conspiracy, all the rest of it. Shoes never fit now, and they don't seem to like it. And some of the stuff I've heard, court arbitration for sport, that was one of the ones I read. Was the other one, we shouldn't be awarded the title, we should be stripped of that title. Bit funny, there's an appetite for stripping titles now, but it's been brilliant. Just some of the absolute madness that I've read. I know. It's been a good week.
Oh, no, I heard I don't know if that's the one you're referring to, but there was a guy on Super Scoreboard that said the game. He appreciates the game can't be replayed, so he thinks it's tried to sound all clever by saying, I appreciate the game can't get replayed, but it maybe should get made null and void because of it. You're like, it's absolutely brilliant. There was even one guy phoned up and complained that ruined his party that night and that they had a party planned.
And it ruined that.
But for me, it's massive smoke screens because they had a couple of chances. They had a couple of chances. Sometimes you've got to wonder if these folk are at the wind up or not. You just didn't know. But even I noticed today on Twitter, you'll have not seen it, but your favourite man, Ali McCoist, he's even chipped in with it as well. He's saying that even his son could see it was a penalty for a mile away, but he doesn't want to go down the Celtic route, doing what Michael Nicholson done, and obviously bring it up to try and claim there's some sort of agenda and stuff. It's lovely, James. I don't know if you're getting to say about Alan McCoist. I mean, some folk in the comments might mention something about his laddie, but
no, but I missed that. I know, but no, it's not Alan McCoist to be talking shit, is it? As I said on Tuesday, it is a penalty. I think everybody in their granny can see it's a penalty, but it's fucking, as Rodgers said today, not every decision goes for you. You get fallen against all the old cliches that we've all heard 100 times over. And I did find it interesting as well that that's the only decision that MD's talking about. I don't think the referee had a particularly good game at all in the cup final. Persistent fouling. The linesman we'll talk about as well. A couple of decisions.
The linesman doing that.
The Cameron Carter-Vickers foul as well. They couldn't win any of the ball. Fucking they tried. But I think it's. I know we'll come on to talk about Column and the VAR thing and all that, but the fact that was the only decision that was mentioned in the cup final. But at the end of the day, it's on good fun, innit? It's been some laugh.
It has been, and like you say, Balogun, I think had about 2 or 3 fouls that would have been bookings after being booked. It was just, it was a poor refereeing display. And obviously, I've not heard Brendan Rodgers' press conference, but he was kind of asked about Willie Collum the day, and he actually mentioned, he goes, look, these, like paraphrasing, but he said these things happen and stuff. We even complained about getting a penalty when it was offside as well. So I thought that was quite cute for Brendan Rodgers as well, saying things like that. So it's a shame.
Sorry, mate. This is a referee as well. That I know it's the issue isn't with the referee; it's with the VAR. But this is the same referee that Brendan Rodgers got a ban for calling incompetent last season. So, and I don't think MD in the Rangers camp was agreeing with us then, but I choosing the other foot now, and it just adds to it, mate. It's been brilliant. It has been really good this week.
Oh, it totally has. And then we'll jump onto Willie Collum, because obviously he does this thing with Gordon Duncan. I think it's like once a month he does the sort of VAR review sort of a show where they talk about instances and maybe explain why maybe folk will think it should have been one way, and he'll explain why the referee's got it right, or he'll, in fairness to Willie Collum, he has came out and he has faced it up. He's been transparent and stuff, and not just this decision, but plenty of decisions. There's been ones where Celtic didn't get penalties earlier on the season against Kilmarnock. He's came out and faced it up. For me, like the audio is horrendous of it. I'll agree. I mean, if that was Celtic, I'd be absolutely be able to understand to an extent where Rangers are getting pissed off with it. The audio is absolutely horrendous when you hear it. But it's like you still hear some of these folks saying it's cheating. It's this. I just didn't know what Rangers fans were expecting to come out of this. It was hard like Willie Collum's out to go, there's bias against Rangers and that we didn't like these. Like that's what I didn't get fit of.
No, exactly. As I say, the same referee as well. Was it John Beaton, Crown Bar Loyal and all that stuff?
I think that was after the League Cup final last season or something. Was it nowhere Duke got a dubious penalty denied?
A penalty and stuff. But no, that seems to be all part to the one side and forgot about now. But I must admit, I do agree with you. The audio isn't great when you hear it. But also the fact that these guys have been suspended for this weekend or indefinite. I don't know what the script is. I know they've not got a game this weekend. It's setting a dangerous precedent. But I don't even know if you could say it's setting a precedent. I wouldn't say it's a dangerous precedent, because Willie Collum, every time he's on that VAR review show, there's wrong decisions, and they're holding their hands up and saying there's wrong decisions. So they're just going to, they're not going to have any fucking referees left if they're going to start suspending them for wrong decisions. And obviously that takes you onto the kind of foreign ref discussion as well, which I'm all for as well. I've said it all along with VAR, and look, obviously it affected us positively this time, but I've said it all along with VAR. The standard of refereeing in Scotland is terrible. So if you put 2 of the idiots referees behind the screen, you're going to get the same daft decisions. And we've seen it umpteen times going against us as well. I think back to Yang at Hearts with Red Caird, and there's been a couple of the Hon Bhoys when it first came in were a bit mad. So it swings and roundabouts, and if that's the route they're going to go down, they've obviously bowed to the pressure that's been put on them and resulting in these guys getting suspended. But it's setting a precedent that you just hope that they're going to fully and continue through with as we move forward. Because as I say, I don't think there's been one of the VR review shows where he hasn't said there's been like a wrong decision. Do you know what I mean? It's every game. Every month they're covering it. There's games where the VAR and the referees got it wrong, but nothing happens and they just move on. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward.
Well, I mean, I think when you do see it, it's just one of the things. Everybody go every walk of life. You make a mistake that you just cannot justify, and that's simply all I can put Sunday down is the VAR officials made a big mistake in a big game. Yes, there's no guarantee, and I think that's one of the big things that Rangers and some of the media are playing on it. That yes, it would have been a penalty in extra time, we don't know what would have happened for there. Obviously, they might have scored, they might not have. It's almost like that's been put down as a decisive sort of a decision where it was a game changer. If they got that penalty, that was it. And it's just, for me, Clement is played on. I didn't like talking massively about him, but I think he's, again, going to that smoke screen, he's playing massive on it because it's another game with Celtic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll credit Rangers saying they got it bang on tactically, especially that first half, but Celtic weren't up to it for large chunks of the game. And again, he still couldn't get it out of the line, and that's like 6 games. So I think he's just trying to pile the pressure on. Like you said, moving forward, going into the January game, I think he's just putting all the pressure on it. Every manager's got to look after himself, but I think he's trying to put a bit of pressure on the rest and try to cover his own back at the same time for his shortfalls again.
100%. It's probably the best thing that could have happened to him. We obviously winning the game, but as you say, if this was a disallowed goal in the fucking 121st minute or whatever, then fair enough. But it wasn't. And you watch the extra time. Look, I don't think we were particularly great in extra time either, but it looked as if there was only really one team trying to win the game. And it goes to penalties. He's fucking had 120 minutes to win the game. Couldn't do it. Goes to penalties. Couldn't win the penalties. And then, obviously, this penalty decision is to get out of jail cleared free for him. As I said as well, everybody's going on about they've turned a corner and this, that, and the next thing. And I suppose, to be fair, performances, at least on paper, have been better. You think I can't remember, was it St Johnstone, Ross County? There was somebody else who bet as well. They won the 3 games, which you would expect them to win, and then they're going into play Spurs and us, 2 games you wouldn't expect them to win, and they've ended up no winning them. But it's been painted out as this massive achievement for them, and as I say, that decision just is a get out of jail card free for him. Obviously, it's the only thing it's really been spoken about since the game. As I say, there is other decisions within the game that I disagreed with, but they seem to have all been forgotten about, and it's just all in this penalty decision. But we'll see how it goes going forward. But I know there was a talk. Is it Frank Connor or Francis Connor or something? He was the assistant VAR guy. He's meant to be a Celtic supporter or something.
I've seen something about that.
So
He's
I
got
was reading
had a season ticket as well or something.
But that's a massive problem. But then you look at the guy that was running about with the whistle, and you're like, again, is that just forgotten about? It doesn't suit the agenda for the time being? So,
is that one, you know, the one that worked at Rangers as well or something, that coached the kids? So no referee that, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was coaching kids at Ibrox, certainly under Gerrard and things like that as well.
Well, obviously doesn't fit the agenda for the time being, so it'll be a pile-on for this other guy. But no, as I say, the John Beaton thing and just seems to have been totally forgotten about. But look, as I say, it's been brilliant. It's been a good laugh.
And a wee bit of me was hoping, like I wasn't sure if I wanted when Willie Collins was to come out, I wasn't too sure if I was wanting to come out and go, no, there was a foul before it, so the game was dead. That's it, wasn't a penalty. But I think the more I kind of see it, and more and more guys coming out and talking about it, I think I'm glad they've came out and said, it should have been a penalty. I think it just makes the win also sweeter, because obviously we take that fake crown for them, and hopefully we can just chuck it in the bin and being the most successful club in Scotland. Just park it up and see you later. But I don't know what you think about that. It's very your bit.
No, exactly. That I think that is really what's caused the absolute meltdown for it. I mean, we've seen games in the past where there's maybe been a decision for or against, or a dubious decision that's been debatable, and it's maybe been the next kind of day or two, it's been mentioned, and then it's been kind of parked and forgotten about. But as you say, we're now nearly a week on for the game, and it's still all the phone-ins, or Twitter, or everything. I mean, they're all acknowledging Ali's records now, so it's definitely absolutely playing a part in it. I mean, wartime trophies hadn't been mentioned for about I can have it in my lifetime until Sunday night. So they're not taking it well, and that is absolutely 100% the reason behind it. They've lost their mythical crown of being the world's most successful club.
I know. I mean, like you say, Al Ahly, I think they're maybe about 20 or 30 trophies ahead, and then not to mention the 13 or 14 Champions Leagues that Real Madrid won. I think they could argue that they're maybe probably the most successful club in world football.
They'd never won the Petrofac Cup though, so there's levels.
Well, this is true. There is levels to this game, James. There is levels to this game, but we'll kind of just park that for now anyway. And we'll just a wee sort of one, still in the League Cup, but where does the League Cup kind of rank through? What does it, not necessarily this one, but well, I suppose this one, but in general, where does the League Cup rank for you in terms of importance and all that to a league campaign?
Well, obviously the league's a bread and butter. The League Cup, depending on the sort of, like, we're cruising in League now, we're 11 points clear. But by the way it is, obviously it can be helpful in building that momentum moving into the new year, the kind of second half of the season. But at the end of the day, it's part of a treble. So I know people say it's the rest of the three, it's the Dundee Cup, and all the rest of it. It's part of a treble, and I'm not saying we're going to go and win a treble or expect us to go and win a treble, but like at Olympia, it is part of a treble. So when you win it, it's going to get spoke about. So obviously it's important in the circumstances surrounding that game on Sunday. As you say, we've been tied at 118 each, so it carried extra importance there. And going into it, I wasn't confident, and if you had a camera on me at the game, I think you would see just how important I thought the League Cup was, man. I swear it's took years off me. But nah, it's I don't even know how to answer you, to be honest. The league's obviously the most important, but then the Scottish and the League Cup, for me, it's much of a muchness. It's part of a treble, part of a double, so you'd rather it in the cabinet than anywhere else.
Well, that's it, and I think you're right. You obviously go back to Wim Janssen's season, obviously Angie's first season, getting that first trophy in the bag, if you like, it can build momentum where it is maybe no, it's a wee bit tighter, unlike this season where we are cruising. It would take something really, really mental for us to lose this lead that we've got in the league already. But I'm similar with you. I like winning trophies, and I think trebles. Brendan Rodgers is one of the guys. He's kind of not made it the norm, but it's almost like, I wouldn't say it's a failure if we don't win the treble, but he's raised sort of expectations to say like that's a realistic target for Celtic season in, season out, is win a treble. Or, like I say, not a failure if we don't, but it's just for the first time round he raised the kind of levels.
Aye, and I think as well, when you think back to last season and obviously the Kilmarnock game at Rugby Park where we went out, and not even just the fact that we went out, but the performance that day was absolutely terrible. So obviously going into it this year, there's maybe that wee bit of extra kind of impetus to go on and do well in it, and obviously ultimately win it, which he's done. And look, at the start of every season, there's 4 trophies available. But obviously there's 3 trophies that realistically you can win. So I don't think that the manager will be putting any less importance on certain cups. So I think he'll be delighted as well, because I think that last season, obviously with the Kilmarnock performance, that would have kind of stuck in his gut for a while and annoyed him. So he's managed to right that wrong for last season.
No, totally, especially when up until that game he had like a perfect record in domestic football in Scotland. He hadn't lost a trophy. He'd won everything available, and I think that was his 13th final as well that he's won or something. So the guy's got some record for us. But next talking point that might be a wee bit interesting in the comments, I think it might split folk, is the KT rumour has surfaced again. I think Arsenal came out and said they're not going to I think they had an option there to extend it by a year, and they're not going to do that. He obviously played the other night. And I think what sort of gives any rumour, certainly within Celtic, any sort of credit, is when Stephen McGowan tweets about it, and apparently he tweeted saying that obviously Celtic are interested. I think the interest was there for last season as well. As soon as Rodgers came back, I think he's always kind of looked at him to get him back. And apparently Kieran Tierney said he's wanting to take a wage cut to make the deal happen. Is it a deal you'd be up for, James?
I don't know, mate. And I did read that and all saying he was going to take a wage cut. Well, you're going to be on £0 a week because you'll be a free agent, so it's not really taking a wage cut, is it? But no, mate, I don't know. I'm on the fence with it. I think in some ways it's probably been the worst kept secret in football that Kieran Tierney will be back here. I've thought it for a while, just purely in the summer. I think every left back that we were linked with was a loan signing. I don't think that was by accident. But I don't know. Is he better than Greg Taylor? Absolutely, 100%. We know that. Who's more reliable at the two? It's Greg Taylor, absolutely 100%. And that's the issue. Like Kieran Tierney, he will, if he does come in, he is going to be on a decent wage. He will be one of the higher earners in the squad. And the reliability factor just isn't there. He isn't reliable at all. He's been out injured for large chunks of the last 3 seasons at least.
I think that was his first game in 19 months for Arsenal. I'm sure that's what they said.
Aye, he went to Sociedad last year, didn't he? And get injured after a couple of games as well. So that's the thing. He's undeniably a quality player. He's better than what we have in that position, but he just isn't reliable. So it would really depend on the wages for me. And in that, I know there's been talk as well about Greg Taylor going to the MLS, possibly in January as well. So I think in an ideal world, I don't think we're going to really have any chance of keeping Vi. I think he'll be away elsewhere come the summer. So I think in an ideal world, you'd probably be looking to sign Greg Taylor up on a new deal as the backup if you're bringing in Tierney. Because realistically, if Tierney does come in, whoever the backup left back is going to be, they probably are going to play a lot of football. I know there's been chat about maybe bringing Tierney in on loan in January until obviously the summer when he can sign on a free. And I think if we were doing that, I think that probably implies that either Greg Taylor is away in January or that Vi's going back to Barca, because you're not going to have 3 left backs, and that can cause its own issues as well. It maybe gives Tierney a chance to get up to speed and prove his fitness. But then if he does break down, you're kind of up shit creek without a paddle if you've let your number 1 left back go as well. So it's a difficult one. I honestly don't know. It would really depend on the wages, just purely because of the injury record.
Strains off his doctor. I think he's sort of similar to he's saying. Obviously, if Katie's available on a free, fits the wage structure and wants to come here, he'd be a fantastic signing. But he honestly thinks it's agent talk. I honestly think it's more than agent talk. It's not went away for a while, and even our own Willie Dobbin, when he was over in Germany earlier on in the year for the Euros, went to the training ground and asked him if he was coming back, and he said, maybe, no, take off that what you will. That was probably just a polite answer back to Willie, but we'll take it as a wee early scoop that Kieran Tierney was hinting that he was coming back. I mean, I'd have him back in a heartbeat, and I just think he's on his days genuine world class. Can he get back to that level? It all comes down to fitness at the end of the day. Like, I mean, we're no really. Everybody knows he's got his injury issues, but like you said, I think in an ideal world you'd keep Greg Taylor because you know what you can get, and Greg Taylor will know he'll get game time if Kieran Tierney comes. I mean, Kieran Tierney could surprise us on play 50, 60 games a season, but I think realistically, don't think anybody's expecting to do that. We've got to have to try and manage him and ideally have him up to speed ready for the bigger games where possible, where you can kind of do that. But that might help you maybe if Greg Taylor does leave. I would like us to maybe go for a younger type player that Can it just be the drop off? I mean, the drop off's going to be pretty bad to Kieran Tierney, but I would like it to be, if you're going for somebody else, try and make it where you think maybe not get to KT's level, but get to a decent level. And it is maybe a good selling point, like you touched on, James, saying that the backup, if you like, it's got a good chance of maybe playing 30 plus games a season.
Aye, definitely, man, and that is just the big question mark. Is the fitness, and I definitely think there is something to it, as I say, because in the summer everything was alone, and then obviously all the chat about Greg Taylor's contract situation, and then it's come out in the last few days about a possible move to America. I read it was for family reasons. I don't know what the script is there, but we're obviously going to need a new left back. We've known we're going to need a new left back, and we've also known that Tierney's going to be available on a free. So I've just felt for a while that everything points towards him coming in, and obviously the Brendan Rodgers factor as well in terms of him being here the last time. But I honestly don't know. As I say, in terms of quality, it's an absolute no-brainer because he is better than what we have, but it's just the availability factor. So I mean, if your backup left back's going to be playing, as you say, they're kind of 25, 30 games a season, can you realistically still call him a backup? Do you know what I mean?
This is true.
So I don't know. Maybe wouldn't he be against a loan for 6 months to see if he can prove his fitness, and if he breaks down again, then it's maybe as harsh as it is. I think you just need to leave it be. But then, as I say, if you're bringing him in on loan, you're probably going to lose out on one of or Taylor. So it is a tricky one. If the wages were all right, I'd probably pull the trigger, but I would be very, very wary of giving him maybe a 3 or 4 year deal. I'd probably can you give a player a 1 year rolling deal? But honestly, that's probably what you'd be looking at, wouldn't it? You'd probably be looking at 1 year
on technically that, isn't he?
He's right enough, a year. But you're probably looking at a deal like that with Taylor as well. And then the other side of it is to sell him for 25 million a few years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and then bring him back for on a free. I mean, that makes sense, but it's just the question marks for his fitness, and it's impossible to answer without obviously him getting a run in a team, whether it's here or elsewhere. But it is a difficult one to answer, but I'd probably sway in the side if we can get him on loan for 6 months to see what he can do. Then I'd probably pull the trigger on it, but it's just the question marks, man.
Oh no, isn't it? As big question marks, and I think everybody will have the same concerns. For me, it's almost like the heart, everything would be rolling over the head. I would just be get it over the line. The wages are what the wages are. I probably wouldn't be. For me, it's no for us to be really, as fans, to be concerned with the wages are at the end of the day. But I do understand what you're saying. You don't want to be paying a guy 60, 70 grand and put him on a 3-year contract, and a guy with his injury record and he breaks down, and you're like, and it's no, he's out for 2-3 weeks. It generally is likely out for months at a time, and you're like, well, it's a lot of cash to be taking a punt on. And it's interesting that the Greg Taylor sort of contract one as well is weird, and I'm just wondering, do you think why he's gone for a more, I say, orthodox left back in Kieran Tierney? He's maybe not really fashionable left back these days, and is like Kieran Tierney's obviously good in the ball, but is more a ball player. Like, it almost feels like Rodgers is kind of accommodating Taylor and playing him more inverted, where Alistair Johnson plays as your traditional right back, if you like, and Bhoys kind of plays more a traditional kind of role left back. So do you think this is maybe just Rodgers trying to, I say, phase Taylor out, but kind of get his type of left back in? Because he tried to play more, like get Greg Taylor to stay wide a lot, and it didn't really work, and he helped him. He just allowed him to play the way he needs to play.
Well, we've seen it under Ange. When Greg Taylor was playing that role under Ange, he done it really, really well. Probably better than anybody expected he could. And then obviously, I think it came out that he used to play centre mid in his youth days or something like that. But I don't know. I think it really depends on the kind of the rest of the team, to be honest, because you look at that first goal that we conceded for Greg Taylor on Sunday. He's essentially running inverted. He's running a line, pretty much running the line the halfway line, and he's trying to play the pass into traffic. He's running into traffic, and then he's trying to play the pass into more traffic. There was 3 Rangers players between him and Carter Vickers, who he was trying to pass to. And the space for Greg Taylor in that instance was to go forward up the line, up the wing. But he obviously didn't. And whether that comes for the manager or he just doesn't feel comfortable doing it, because I don't think it's harsh to say that it isn't his biggest strength, is playing as that kind of the way you would expect a fullback, kind of traditional fullback, I suppose. It's not really his strength. His strength is when he comes into the middle, and he's done it well in the past, as I say, under Ange. So when I think of Tierney, I think more the kind of traditional fullback, like we're seeing with Alistair Johnson on the other side. Maybe wouldn't go as far to say overlapping, but definitely sticking out wide, essentially. That's what I think when I think of Tierney. And there is also the option for him to play centre half as well, if need be, which maybe isn't as taxing on the body as getting up and down the line. But no, the left back situation, it is a weird one for me. And I know Greg Taylor gets a lot of stick, and to be fair, he gets a lot of stick for me as well. But I think overall, you'd have to say he's been a great signing for us. He's probably outperformed whatever they expected him. But I must admit, recently when Bhoys played out with his debut against Falkirk in the Cup, I think Bhoys looked good. And I don't think he really deserved to be dropped when he did. Was it the Leipzig game or the Bruges game? It was one of the games Greg Taylor came back in for. And he's no really lost his place since then. Which, to be honest, I think was a wee bit harsh. I thought Vai had kind of took the jersey.
Is that not about the time the rumours were coming about that he was maybe going back to Barca in January and that or something, and maybe Rodgers just like going, well, what's the point in playing you if you're going to be away in a couple of weeks or whatever?
Aye, but that's the thing with signing players on loan, though, isn't it? I mean, you can't sign a player on loan and then a couple of months down the line say, well, he's not going to be here next season. Well, realistically, you probably had a good idea that was the case when you signed him. But no, look, I think in an ideal world, I would like Greg Taylor to sign a new deal as much as I can stick, but to be the backup left back and have somebody else, be it Tierney or whoever, coming into play in the first place. But I think moving forward, I know he scores at the weekend, but the goal that he gives away, and obviously the slip to give away the 4-on-1, and as Dom says in the comments, I think he's kind of proven that he's not really up to European football for what we've seen either. I would like to see Vai get a wee run in the team moving forward for here into the new year as well now.
It's interesting. And I think, I mean, I'm not trying to pretend to be one of Greg Taylor's biggest fans. If you look back in podcasts years gone by, every transfer window I'm saying get a left back, and I'm probably one of the ones guilty saying no, really. I wouldn't say I never rated him, but I always was under the pressure. Well, never really liked him because he wasn't Kieran Tierney at the end of the day. It was always comparing him to Kieran Tierney, but it was never. It was always on the back foot essentially for him. So it has been a great search for £2 million. He's been good in that sense. But I do think we can upgrade that. But I'd be more than happy for Kieran Tierney to come in and like you've touched on, saying Greg Taylor's the backup. I think that would be two good options.
The thing that I've always said with Greg Taylor is that I just think he's average. Like across the board, I think he's average. I don't think he has really any kind of standout attributes. He's not particularly quick. I don't think, he isn't very good defensively in my opinion. I don't think he's particularly good going forward in terms of assists and goals and the rest of it. But then when Ange came in and he was essentially playing as a centre mid, wasn't he, under Ange? That was when he looked at his best. It's when you try and play him, as we said, as a more traditional fullback. I think that's where his faults lie, and obviously there is kind of a wee bit more mistakes maybe creeping into his game now. And whether that contract situation, I don't doubt that'll be playing in his mind as well. He's got uncertainty. I know he's got a young family and all that. So, it'll be interesting times, but everything that I've read at least is pointing towards Greg Taylor being away and it's going to be Tierney coming in.
It certainly looks like it might become a natural end for Taylor. I mean, Rodgers has even been on record fairly recently, maybe about 5-6 weeks ago, saying how he's essentially they're nowhere near signing a deal. So Greg Taylor, like you say, he's got a young family, just got married recently as well, 27-year-old. He's probably got a couple of contracts left, but this one could be his next big one, and he could go down south and him silly money for 3-4 years. And who could blame him at the end of the day? It's just one of them. But I've just kind of want to bring out a comment that Jed put on. I've not heard anything about this, but apparently there's a rumour that Brendan Rodgers been offered a 3-year deal. I'm assuming, well, I don't know, would you be offered that?
Aye, got to be. Who would have thought I would have been saying that a year ago, Jed, as well, to be fair, but I'd be all for it, because he's only got a year left. Well, we have about 18 months left to know, wasn't it? It was a 3-year deal that he signed. When he came in,
so it would be. No, I think I'd be offered keeping him. Like, it's just, he is a proper elite manager. Whether he's still got the credibility, I think he's obviously still got credibility down in the bank down south and stuff, and he has got a bit of ego. I think he would realistically not within this 3 year, but I think realistically, if he got offered a deal at the end of next year down south somewhere, I think he would. Him and his Gucci belt, I think, would be away down the road as quick as he went into Leicester. So I'm not naive to. I can't. On the one hand, I can't sit and say we've got an elite manager in Brendan Rodgers, and act surprised if he jumped ship down south somewhere. But I hope that rumour's true, Jed, about him signing a 3-year deal. That'd be brilliant. But I don't know. I didn't see a guy like Brendan Rodgers tying himself down for a 3 year, because he can't leave. I'm not saying he can't leave, but he'll struggle to leave while he's under contract, James. Would you think?
I think there's obviously, regardless of how he leaves, if he's fucking out of contract or sacked, there's always going to be that element that that just never really took to him coming back. But look, if it depends. I know we're if buts and maybes we're talking about, but it depends on how he leaves. If he leaves the way Ange did, then you can go with your best wishes. Wait till the season's done, treble in the cabinet, off you go. But the issue wasn't with the fact that he left the last time. It was just obviously with the how he done it, basically sneaking away in the middle of the night. But I'm probably a different opinion to yourself, to be honest. I think he'd maybe struggle for a decent job down south. At the moment in time, I know when he went down, Leicester's not obviously a massive club, but when he went down to Leicester the last time, they were looking like a kind of decent option, a decent project. But I think with how that ended and how little kind of notice they take a fit bar up here. I mean, I know Ange get the Spurs job, but I think he was about 85th choice, wasn't he, in the list? They went through fucking every manager in world fit bar, I think, before they got to him. But I'd be surprised. I think his stock will be pretty low down there still. And if he did go down south, it's probably going to be a team at the lower end of the table. I don't see him going for a Spurs or a Brighton or even somebody like that. I think you'd be looking down below.
I think he'd maybe get like a Brighton. I mean, that Thomas Frank always gets linked to Joe's, but it doesn't seem to ever leave Brentford. But I don't know. So I'd maybe get that. But Sam Fran and Big Dom made a couple of good comments about what might add sort of a wee bit of credibility to the rumours. Like, how can Brendan Rodgers ask guys to come in and commit if he's not got to be the? But I suppose on the flip side of that, that's just how football works. At the end, the players aren't daft. They know that a year down the line, 6 months down the line, that manager could be at a job running results, whatever, James.
Exactly. And for the last however long, I know obviously it's different than now with Rodgers, but Rodgers came in a 12-month rolling contract the first time, and then obviously gets a deal, and then Ange comes in a 12-month rolling contract, and he's on that for the full time he's here. So I don't think players would probably read too much into that, to be honest.
No. I mean, it's just football. Football's the way it is. No, players will know that players have usually got more power than the manager at the end of the day. They tend to get a manager sacked these days, so I don't think they'll be too concerned about that. But well, kind of, it's been, I say, a slow week. It's been a fun week. If you're a Celtic fan, you can just sit back and relax and watch the meltdown. But we've got a game on Sunday away to Dundee United. Obviously, not want to look too far ahead to the Rangers game, but we're 3 games out for a massive, I wouldn't say a title decider, but where we could really put the final nail in the coffin, any doubt in the league challenge. And obviously, recently, last few games, performances haven't been up to what we've kind of been expecting, James. But kind of looking at the Dundee United game, and we've obviously got 2 home games before we go to Ibrox. You hoping we pick up a wee bit of form and stuff?
I'd
like to silly question at the day. Obviously, you do.
I'd like to see us get back to the way we were playing the first half of the Ross County game, especially. But as you say, like, the second half of the Ross County game was a training session. You can't grumble. You're 5-0 up. The Hibs game, although we won 3-0, the Hibs could have probably been 3-0 up.
It was a mad game. That was a mental game.
They had too many chances. But then obviously, I don't think we played particularly well in the cup final at the weekend there. So I hoping to get a wee return to form. The games have been coming kind of thick and fast recently between obviously the league, the cup, and the Champions League. But if had a wee rest, obviously we've seen them doing it at the darts, so they've obviously had a couple of days off, and then they've had the rest of the weekend training. So there's been no kind of midweek game, the interruptions. So hopefully that bodes well, and we can get back to what we've seen in the, I was going to say the early stages of the season, but we're talking about 3 weeks ago or something. So I think we can get back to it and get a performance in to match the result.
Totally. I think the couple of days off, it might just be enough time. I say enough time, but just at the right time, just for the team to maybe chill out a wee bit, get a wee bit of rest, and come back a wee bit rejuvenated as well. It was good seeing them going down at the darts and that. Obviously, any walk of life, a wee bit of team bonding and stuff, it can do things and that. And one guy, Arnie Engels, obviously is getting a wee bit of stick for some quarters of the fan base and stuff. It does look like he's maybe struggling a wee bit. Confidence. I know you've been a big fan of him, James, and have credited him a wee bit, and haven't been one of the ones that are just piling on and stuff. I think that seeing him down there and stuff, maybe reading too much into it, but it was nice to see that it does look like he's at least integrating, or he's being integrated, and at least trying to hang around with the team on the outside, making new pals. Making new pals.
I know what you mean.
Come out to play.
I know what you mean. Like, there's obviously we coming in for the price tag and the kind of expectations. There is that maybe kind of worry that he doesn't settle as such. But when you see things like that, obviously, it kind of suggests that he has. And to be fair, every interview that he's gave, I think he's kind of alluded to the fact that he's enjoying it. So I think it is just the price tag. I think that's look, I'm not going to deny there has obviously been a couple of bad performances in there. And for me, the cup final at the weekend was one. I know he gets the assist, but I don't think he played particularly well when he came on. But look, that's his first Celtic Rangers game. No, it wouldn't be. Would that be second one, wouldn't it? But it's his first cup final.
I think he came on when we were 3-0 up the last game.
Aye,
when he came on, yeah.
First cup final is the first time he's basically we've had away support at. Well, he's had away support of that game, the 50-50 split. So you can cut him a bit of slack for that. But I think he started good and then probably naturally took a wee dip. But I don't have any doubts that it'll come good and we'll make our money back and then some on him.
And I've got faith that the guy will turn it all right. I mean, I said that countless times. Nicholas Kuhn has just got to kill me for the years on. I'm just never going to write off another player ever again, because God Almighty, what a player he's certainly this season anyway. What he's turned out to be. But we'll just kind of look ahead to that Dundee United game, James. It's mad. We've actually played some teams twice already and never played Dundee United yet once this season. Just simply due to cup games and things like that. But do you think it could be a tricky game up at Tannadice, tight pitch and that? But I don't know.
I don't know, man. I think it would depend on the team we put out. I know there's realistically probably going to be Ralston starting. Johnson will probably, well, I think he pretty much
I think
has
Rodgers has said he's injured.
so it'll be Ralston that'll be in, which always gives me the fear. I'm not a Tony Ralston fan. So that always plays in my mind. But no, Tannadice, I think, is traditionally a hard place to go. Dundee United are having a decent season. But I'd like to think we'd get back to getting a performance as well as the result, as I say. So I'm confident getting into it, and obviously having the trophy in the cabinet for last week and the fallout for it, I don't doubt for a second the players will take confidence for that as well.
Well, that's it. And as well, it's obviously Rangers are at home to Dundee on the Saturday, probably win there. And psychologically, that's all they can do is tick off games and win and try and put any sort of seeded out in us. Like, it'll take it for double figures to single figures all for 24 hours. And I suppose if we then play on the Sunday, we then go out and maybe win convincingly, just then puts the pressure back on them, and that's all we really can do is tick the game. I'm confident Dundee United are playing well, but maybe our ex-player Jim Goodwin will do us a wee favour and rest some players just to help a meltdown continue into a second week.
Aye, that'd be good. A wee Dubé's penalty or something thrown in there would be ideal as well, wouldn't it? But no, I think it's an absolute certainty that they'll get a penalty on the Saturday. They'll win on the Saturday, and then it'll be down to fucking 412 points or whatever it is, and then it's just down to us to go out on the Sunday and get the result. And I think it will be interesting to see the team. I know we'll probably run through our starting 11, but I think it will be interesting to see. For instance, like at left back, as I say, Taylor obviously scores, but he wasn't great either during the game. So it'll be interesting to see if he stays in the team or if he comes back in. And then obviously there's always question marks over who's starting in the middle of the park nowadays. So I'll be curious to see what the lineup looks like.
It will be interesting. Speaking about penalties, I think it'll be hilarious if we get. I mean, the chances of getting another like for like situation like the cup final, but imagine the roles reverse where we get one where one of their attack, like Nicholas Kuhn, gets tugged at the edge of the box and we get a penalty for it, and exactly that would just be brilliant. That would just top it all off.
Just on the VR next month, it's more inside than outside penalty. There we go.
That'll be brilliant. But we'll just kind of come on it. What you were talking about your lineup, what you gave it much thought what your lineup might be. I mean, James Forrest is out as well. He's been out for 6 weeks as well, so not saying that's that, but
how did Forrest get injured, by the way? I seen him saying it was during the cup final, but I totally missed that because he did finish the game, didn't he? I know he did finish the game, and
maybe that's why didn't they take a penalty, because you might have hit him up for one of the first five. Certainly before as much as Maeda is the hero, I'd have probably had Forrest ahead of Maeda, but
100%. But no, it's just when I read that he was out for 6 weeks, I was a bit surprised because you'd think that'd be something that you'd be forced halfway. And as I say, I didn't notice that at the time. But no, in terms of the starting 11 for the weekend, in goals, Schmeichel, will be Ralston at left back, Ralston at right back. Sorry, Carter Vickers. I'd probably stick with Trusty. I'd probably keep Trusty in there. Left back, I'd go Vi. I'd put him back in. Centre mid could be names out of a hat, to be honest with you. I think McCowan has done absolutely nothing. I know he was cup tied at the weekend, but I don't think he's set a fit Ryan. So I'd probably have him in the team. I've liked what I've seen for Bernardo recently, so I'd probably keep him in, and then obviously McGregor's going to start, so that would be my three, and then up front it'll be Maeda, Kuhn, and I'd probably go with Ida for this game. I think Kyogo's probably been a wee bit quiet recently, and I think he does maybe going to be a wee bit more suited to going to Tannadice, but it's a good place to be in because you think that team's no get Hatate in it, it's no get Engels in it, it's no get Kyogo in it, Liam Scales as well. It's a good place to be in. Good problems to have.
Alistair Johnson, obviously that's a fourth one, but you've not got Alistair Johnson in it as well.
Aye, but no, I will genuinely be interested to see it. I think the big ones are the left back, and then either Scales or Trusty. But for me, I'd stand by Trusty. I didn't think, and watching it back, and I did notice it at the game as well, but I think Carter Vickers was every bit as guilty as Trusty in the first half in terms of the kind of playing sidewise, no one to go forward. But no, I'd stand by Trusty. I'd keep Trusty in. But at left back, I'd be going for Vai. I'd be bringing him back in. What about yourself? What would you go?
It's almost like for like, but I think I'm keeping Taylor in. I don't know. Similar to the Trusty sort of thing. I just try and get him to play. Obviously, that's probably playing it as much as Taylor got the first equaliser. It might be he obviously had the chance that it created the 4-on-1 thing as well. It wasn't just Taylor didn't have a great game, but to maybe just help him maybe play through that sort of a wee spell that he's maybe having. But it just depends on what Rodgers. I think we've got to. I know we said we want to look ahead, but I think you've got to look at what you think. Rodgers will also be looking at. He'll have an idea of who wants to play at Ibrox. I think, given that providing everybody's fit, and I think these next 3 games, that's what you need to be looking at, is try to get that team that you're going to play at Ibrox playing as many games or as many minutes. But on the flip side of that, the midfield 3 you've picked is exactly the same midfield 3 I would pick going into Sunday. And like you said, McCowan's done nothing wrong. But I probably, when they play him at Ibrox, I would probably have a Hatate or I don't know, I maybe would, but it depends. But I would probably have a Hatate or an Engels at Ibrox before I put McCowan in. Fun enough, I would play Ada at Ibrox as well, because I think when he came on, I'm just dropping a wee bit deep, open up space for Maeda and Kun just for that ball at the top. I think we need to do that at Ibrox a wee bit more. But back to Dundee United, that's where I would go. I'm going Schmeichel, Ralston, obviously. I think the Scales will come in, but I'm sticking Trusty in CCV, and I think Trusty stays in. And I would keep Taylor in. My midfield threes, McGregor, Bernardo and McCowan. And my front three's the same as you with Maeda, Ida and Kun. And you got a scoreline that you think?
I'll go 4-1. 4-1.
I'll go 3-0. That's where I'm all. We'll try and get back to a good dominant performance, start getting bold a wee bit of momentum, and then getting up to Ibrox. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something there, James.
No, I was just going to say, I think it will be interesting to see, especially in the midfield, because I thought Hatate in the first half was hopeless on Sunday, but I thought he really grew into the game, and he's been doing that a lot recently. He seems to be a kind of slow starter. Was it the Leipzig game as well? It was really similar, and then he ends up getting 10 off, and I was gutted when he went off because I thought he'd come right on to a game, but it's just getting a 90-minute performance at him seems to be difficult, and he seems to be favoured over Bernardo. Always seems to be Bernardo getting the shunt for him, so it'll be interesting to see the team moving forward. And as I say, I'd be going with Trusty. I think it'd be so harsh to drop Trusty off the back of a bad 45 minutes, and it'll probably dent his confidence as well. When Scales was probably a wee bit better on the ball, but I didn't think it was a massive difference. And obviously Scales has been on the bench for a few weeks now. No harm to Scales, but I'd just be staying with Trusty for the time being.
So it's a good debate, because even when we go to Liam Scales, I feel like we're always just got to kind of patronise the guy. Like, we know he's got to be. We know we can trust him. We know he's got to put in a performance. But I just think, I know money shouldn't have been everything when you look at, we're not really putting Engels in the team, but we didn't spend $6 million on Trusty for him to sit on the bench. If we're all honest, Trusty wasn't brought in to sit on the bench. It was to partner CCV. So I think it's one of the ones you maybe just need to play him through it. I mean, what is Trusty? Is Trusty about 26-year-old or something as well?
I couldn't tell you. Honestly, must be about that. Aye.
Well, I'm not going to say that you've got to play. You brought him in for experience with Engels. That's why you maybe didn't play him, because he's younger. I'm not, and find out that Trusty's about 22, 23 or something. He's a young guy.
No, I'm sure he is older. But as you part of, obviously, as you're on to there, part of the transfer fee for Engels, you're paying for potential. You're paying what you could potentially have in the future. So No, look, I'm the same. What you're saying with Liam Scales there, I'm probably the same with Luke McCowan. It's just in the back of my head that he's came through Dundee, so he can't be that good. But every time he's played, he's looked excellent. He's probably been the standout midfielder. So I think you've got to have him in the team for the time being.
I would definitely play him this weekend as well. But we've made it. We've managed to get to nearly an hour. McGinn would be happy with this. Gav would be very, very disappointed, shall we say. He'd not be happy at all with the time frame. But that's us kind of just talked about everything tonight. I just want to thank everyone in the comments. They enjoyed this one, James.
Aye, good mate, good. I enjoyed it.
Good stuff. And then I think we'll be on Monday, but I don't know if me and James will be here. So just what I'll say is Merry Christmas and fuck you can fill in the blanks.